be talking to players from the entire team.
Today, I'm joined by Peyton Chattenay.
What's your mindset when you step on the mound?
When did you learn you were going to be in Orleans?
What do you think that feeling is going to be like?
Hi, Cape League fans. This is Coach K, manager of the Orleans Firebirds, and I'm here to tell you that Cape League baseball is back this summer, and it's time to meet the Bird King.
Welcome into another episode of Meet the Bird Gang 2.0. My name is Noah Searson, and today we are joined by none other than VCU third baseman and 2021 Orleans Firebird, Tyle Locklear. Tyler, thanks for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So I like to start all these interviews kind of at the beginning and get, I guess, the origin story of how you started playing baseball. I know that your dad played a little ball in school and your uncle was also briefly in the Giants system. So when we talk about the start of your baseball career, was it really seamless, picking the bat and ball up when you were young to where you are today?
Yeah, there's basically always a baseball and a bat around. So the athletes have just been in my family. My cousin went to NC State. He played wide receiver there. So it's basically just a family of athletes. There's always been a ball around. I played football in high school as well, so we've just always been on the move.
So you've really been a competitor your entire life. What's that like growing up in a family where it's always centered around sports and maybe a little friendly competition with each other?
It's just always been busy. Like summers are always taken up, falls, springs. There's not a whole lot of free time, but you just love it.
And, when you were first playing baseball growing up, when was the moment where you were like, hey, this is something I really enjoy? And maybe you didn't know that you would have this much success in playing college, but you realized, I really love playing the sport and I want to play it at a high level.
Probably around the age of like 13 or 14, moving into the bigger diamond, kind of going into high school, growing into your body a little bit. You kind of like evaluate yourself and see what you can do once you get to the bigger diamond when everything kind of counts. And then puberty kind of hits and then you stop growing and kind of everybody's the same size. And then you just kind of, it's all about yourself and see what you can do with the talent that you're given.
Well, and just shortly after that, you must have developed your baseball skills quite a bit because in 2018, you were named an Under Armour All-American, which goes to the top 40 baseball players in your class. And since you were named an All-American, you had the opportunity to fly out to Chicago, go to Wrigley Field, and not even go to Wrigley Field. You got a chance to play there. Talk to me about what that was like, being able to play in not only an MLB stadium, but arguably one of the top, probably 3 iconic stadiums in baseball.
Well, it was just a surreal experience. Just the talent that you're surrounded by with kids like Bobby Witt and teammates like Hunter Barco and Carter Young who were also in it. And then just being able to play there in one of the best ballparks in probably the whole world. It's just an unreal experience.
Well, and you mentioned some of those guys that you'll actually be playing in Orleans with this summer, which is kind of funny how that comes full circle for you. We'll talk a little bit about Orleans in a bit, but I'd like to move on to your high school career a bit more. Like I said, All-American in 2018, then your senior year, you hit over 500, absolutely tearing it up, but you weren't recruited as much as you might think, even though you were rated so highly. I believe you got recruited by Towson. You got recruited by, one other school. Gardner-Webb. But you end up landing at VCU. How'd you land with the Rams and where you are right now?
It was kind of all Coach Witten, I guess, because just the relationship that we were able to build over the phone for probably about 6 months, and then coming onto campus for an official and just seeing the love for the coaches, and then having them tour the facilities and the school, it just felt like it was the right fit.
Well, and you also get the benefit of playing pretty close to home. Is that, I know in the era of COVID, it's a little bit different with fans in the stands, but is it nice for you to have the opportunity for your family to be close, that they can come check you out and come to games?
Yeah, it's always nice for them to come visit. They're only 3 hours away, so they try and make every game that they can scheduled around work. And then just for them to probably come up on a weekend every once in a while just to check up on me and see how I'm doing, it's really nice to have them.
Well, and when you first landed at VCU, I know you had, played a lot of traveling ball, traveled a lot of different places, but when you first landed at VCU and even before you maybe even played your first game and you were training, what was that like? Like, did you have that moment where you're like, whoa, like, this is getting serious now. Like, these guys are really good.
You always have that kind of in the back of your head. Like, there's always somebody out there trying to be better than you. So I've kind of just carried that my whole life, I guess, just with training and in game and just everything, basically.
And you had your freshman season cut short last year, and then you were actually supposed to play for the Tri-State Chili Peppers in the summer, but you weren't able to play there. So you really hadn't played baseball for a full year until you took on UNC Wilmington, which I know that's not how you guys wanted it to go. But what was it like stepping on the field for the first time in a full year, which I'm guessing is like the longest you've gone without playing competitive baseball? Probably since you were like playing T-ball.
Yeah. Well, actually, we got to play in a summer league this year called the Piedmont. It was more of a local league, so basically all the Rams and other local talent around Virginia kind of got together and put this league together. So we actually got to play there in the summer. And then playing UNCW, that was kind of just a long wait. It was 344 days. Everybody was excited just to finally be back out there and then go try and beat somebody that had a different jersey on instead of playing yourself in inter squads.
And, when you stepped on the field, I know in your first game, you ended up hitting a home run. Like, what was that like for you to not only step on the field, but have some sort of success right off the bat at the start of the season?
I was just happy to help my team out any way I could, getting up in a big spot and then putting a ball over the fence to see them come out of the dugout as hype as they were. It was really fun.
And was that like feeling weird, the fact that you hadn't done something like that in so long? Like, was it weird getting back into the swing of things back? Like we're having a game day in what seems like it's been forever.
It kind of just felt like it was right where we left off because the group that we have, it's an older group, so everybody knows like what's expected and just everybody knew how to handle it, and we were just ready to get back and pick up right where we left off.
So you got a full season of baseball this year at VCU. We're very excited to watch you play. But if we're looking towards the future, you're playing in Orleans on the Cape Cod Baseball League, which is widely considered to be the best summer college baseball league in the country. How did you when did you first find out about the Cape, and what was the process like that landed you on Orleans to be a 2021 Firebird?
When I first found out about the Cape, it was probably when I was around 16 years old. You just kind of always strive for that as a college baseball player, to spend your summer in the Cape. And then Coach Stifler called me one morning in the summer, and he was like, "What do you think about playing the Cape?" And it just took me by surprise because, like, you never think things like that. And then I was like, "Sure, it's probably the best thing that you've ever probably, like, called me about." And it was just surreal at that moment.
And, you're a 2021 Firebird. We're really excited to see you play. Have you talked to any of your teammates yet, or have you talked to Kelly yet?
Not yet.
Have you been in contact with them at all? Or even, like I said earlier, it's funny that you played with a guy like Hunter Barco years back, and now we're coming full circle, and he's on the Orleans roster. Like, is that kind of funny? Like, oh, hey, we're back at it again.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see guys like that, like where they end up and how successful they pan out to be. It's just cool to see them like that.
Alrighty. Well, we're definitely excited to see you play in Orleans this summer and VCU. You've already off to a successful start yourself, but as much as we've learned about you as a baseball player, we're going to switch it up, and I'm actually debuting a new segment on you because while I was doing research, you like to use Twitter. So we are doing a new segment kind of based off Sean Evans and Hot Ones, if you've ever seen it before. He does like explain this Instagram post. I'm going to mix that up a little bit. I'm doing explain that tweet. I've picked out a couple tweets that are either yours or you're involved in, and I'm going to have you explain the story behind them. So we're going to start off with this one right here, if you can check it out. It's a VCU baseball tweet, and it features you in a Hulk costume. The tweet is, "Don't make at TyLock13 angry. You wouldn't like him when he's angry. Hashtag let's go VCU. Hashtag this is Ram Nation." Explain that tweet, Tyler.
So that was during our Halloween BP that we have every year. Everybody dresses up in a costume, and we take BP. Pitchers hit, everybody hits. That's a whole lot of fun. And that was when I was a freshman. So, like, I was probably, like, a bigger freshman. So everybody, like, called me the Hulk and, like, Brock Lesnar and stuff like that. So I just dressed up as the Hulk as a joke.
That's funny. So are you still known as the Hulk then? Like, is that the nickname that we should be calling you in Orleans?
Not really. Everybody usually calls me Lock just because it's short for Locklear, my last name. And then there's been bigger freshmen that have actually come in and kind of like taken over that kind of stereotype.
So you're not the Hulk anymore. There's a new Hulk.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Next tweet. We actually have one of your tweets. I'm going to put it right here. You quote retweeted a Tim Anderson home run, and your tweet says, "That's why we flip bats, don't take it personal." So take me through what you were thinking in this tweet and kind of your philosophy on bat flipping.
So that tweet was basically like Tim Anderson comes up in a big spot, hits a home run, flips his bat, and kind of gets his team hype. Like, it's nothing really usually about the pitcher, like when you flip a bat, like, because hitting's hard. You hit a home run, that's probably the hardest thing to do. And then it's also good for your team. So you're just trying to get them riled up and hopefully get a rally going so you can score a lot of runs.
So would you consider yourself a bat flip guy then?
Not necessarily. I usually put my head down and run for the most part. Every
Okay.
once in a while, though, if you actually know one's gone, you sit there and kind of admire it a little bit.
So hypothetically speaking, you're in Orleans. It's a big game against Chatham on the road, and you hit a home run to go up, and you're just like, I need a bat flip. How are you flipping the bat? Because there are a lot of different ways you can do it.
Kind of wrist flick just to turn it over, I guess.
Okay. Wrist flick. Just a flick of the wrist. I like that. All right. Third tweet. We're going to this one. And this one's not a baseball one. It just really piqued my curiosity. It's a quote retweet of a tweet that says, if you can see that, it says, "Unpopular opinion fast food edition." And you said, "It's not that fast." Take me through that.
Well, you know how fast food is sometimes. You get to the drive-thru and then you just sometimes wait there an hour. Like, it's just not that fast sometimes.
So
Sit there, it sometimes mess your order up too.
don't ever mess up Tyler's order, because he will call you out on Twitter. I actually saw the other day you had a stolen base, I believe, too. Does that translate to the diamond, the fact that you like to be aggressive and get those extra base hits and steal those bags?
Yeah, you just try to do whatever you can for your team, whether it's get another bag or hustle out a double or go first or third on somebody.
Alrighty. We have one final tweet that we'd like some explaining on, and it is a long one, so I'll read it to you. It's a Bo Bichette home run, but you say, "Two-strike adjustment is unreal. Goes from normal big leg kick to none at all for two-strike approach. The kid is special." So there are a couple things I was interested in here. One, what's your two-strike approach? So you can give that to us first. And then two, do you watch a lot of MLB film, and would you consider yourself a guy that grinds out film, especially for hitters, to get that technique in the box?
Definitely. My two-strike approach really is just kind of get up on the plate a little, try and take away that inner half, take the pitch if it hits you, try and see it deep, be late on the timing. And then from an MLB like film perspective, I do try and like break down a lot when I watch, because it is more than just getting hits and hitting home runs and striking people out. Like there, he went from like a big leg kick trying to hit the ball over the fence to a more simple approach, whether it was like staying behind the ball or seeing it deep, and it ended up working out for me and hit it over the fence.
So quick question just to follow up on that then. Who's your go-to MLB player as far as, I guess your hitting idol, current players?
Probably Manny Machado. He's
Okay.
probably the top one that I always watch. Him and Mike Trout, just because Trout's the best in the game. So why not try to learn from the best?
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better himself. Tyler, great answer on that one. Running out of time, but before we go, one final question, and I'm going to tee you up. I want you to give, I guess, a little tease for the fans of Orleans, and I want you to tell me why Firebirds fans should be excited that you're coming to the Cape this summer. What can they expect when you hit the field?
They can just expect a loud, aggressive player trying to do everything he can to win a baseball game. Hopefully it's a lot of fun, and just can't wait to see the fans out there getting loud.
Once again, that was Tyler Locklear. He's going to play hard, and hey, don't mess up his fast food order. Tyler, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.